Mia Summers's blades hummed over the glass-smooth ice, carving half-moons that glittered beneath the coloured spotlights. Frosthaven Arena had been transformed into a winter fantasia, crystalline trees, frost-dusted flowers, and at centre stage an 8-foot ice sculpture of 2 dancers frozen in a forever lift. Mia paused at the barrier, chest fluttering with the delicious terror of her first professional exhibition. Above the boards, families and sponsors drifted to their seats, the air humming with anticipation and the sugary smell of kettle corn. Victor Crane, the revered and feared head choreographer, strode onto the ice in black boots fitted with dull rehearsal blades. His dark coat swirled like a cape, the silver streak in his ponytail catching the lights. He clapped twice. Final spacing, people. Excellence or exile. The veteran skaters laughed nervously. Mia swallowed, flexing her ankles as Victor's hawk eyes skimmed toward her lane. She had arrived at Frosthaven only 3 months earlier, a last-minute substitute after her regional medal surprised everyone. Victor had drilled her mercilessly, but yesterday, after the final run-through, he'd offered a rare, tight smile. "You surprised me, Summers." Maintained that spark. She had floated back to her hotel, convinced that tonight might mark her real debut. Now, as the orchestra tuned, Victor motioned the cast into formation. The house lights dimmed for a pre-show teaser. A 30-second tableau that ended with Victor bowing mid-ice while the frozen dancers glowed behind him. The curtain of snowflakes would then drop, and the skaters would vanish into the wings. Simple. Perfect. The cue sounded. The spotlights narrowed to a single icy beam on Victor. Mia held her breath. Victor raised his arms with theatrical precision and staggered. For an absurd second it looked choreographed, a dramatic swoon. But when he pitched backward, everyone gasped. His body struck the ballerina half of the sculpture, the upward curving arm of ice slicing through his coat, through flesh. A crimson comet sprayed the immaculate white stage. Victor hung there, impaled, the sculpted dancer embracing him in a grotesque parody of partnership. Screams shattered the hush. Stagehands dashed across the ice, slipping, shouting for medics. The curtain of artificial snow continued to fall, coating Victor's boots, while his lifeblood painted the ice beneath him. Mia's limbs froze colder than the rink. Her mind flashed on Victor's demanding gaze, the rare smile, the last time she'd see either. She forced herself to breathe, mouth tasting metal. Around her, skaters hugged themselves, some sobbing, some worsted with shock. Minutes felt like hours before paramedics reached Victor. But the gash was catastrophic. He was declared dead on the ice. The arena manager herded the audience toward the exits, their whispers echoing like wind through bare branches. Police lights soon soaked the arena windows in blue and red pulses. Detective Jonah Reyes, a sturdy man with salt and pepper stubble, arrived alongside forensics. He questioned everyone in tight clusters, separating coaching staff, skaters, and crew. By midnight, Mia sat alone in the lower bleachers, hugging her practice jacket. Her statement had been short. She saw Victor step back, stumble, fall. That was all, or was it? Something had flickered in the moment before he toppled. A tiny snap? She replayed it. Victor lifted his arms. His weight shifted oddly left. His right boot pitched out, as if caught. Mia's throat constricted. She had spent countless hours studying edges and pivots. Imbalance never happened by chance. "Summers?" She looked up. Detective Reyes offered a cup of vending machine coffee. "You okay?" She accepted. I can't imagine why he was near the sculpture, she said. He blocked everything so carefully. Reyes's brow furrowed. You noticed something off? He kept us at least 5 feet from it in rehearsal. Tonight he planted himself inches away. Not his style. She hesitated, then added, It looked like his boot slipped before he fell. Good eye, Reyes said. Forensics found moisture on the sole, possibly glycerin. It's slick on steel. Someone had sabotaged Victor's boot. Heat prickled Mia's cheeks. She didn't want to become part of an investigation. She wanted to crawl into bed and remember Victor as the man who'd propelled her dream. Yet the thought of letting him down stung worse. Reyes studied her silently, then thumbed through notes. We inventory everyone's skates. 1 pair is missing. The sharpened performance blades Victor planned to wear tomorrow. Keep your ears open, Miss Summers. He moved on, leaving Mia staring at the dark ice where Victor's blood had already been scraped clean. The exhibition was postponed indefinitely. By morning, Frosthaven's corridors felt gutted, hollow. Skaters drifted to the cafeteria, whispering rumours. Victor had enemies, everyone knew it. He'd fired lighting designer Pavel Dorn last week for botched cues. He'd threatened to cut principal skater Dominique Chen's solo. And his assistant, Cassie Lowell, had been seen shouting with him only hours before the incident. Mia spooned untouched oatmeal while Dominique glided in, flawless as a snow queen, even in sweatpants. She whispered, loud enough to carry, Well, Victor finally scored the ultimate dramatic exit. Snickers rippled. Mia's stomach clenched. She pushed away from the table, deciding to return to the rink for solace. The arena smelled of bleach and chilled metal. Maintenance crews chipped at a new slab of resurfaced ice where the sculpture had been dismantled. A shredded tarp covered the base, tufted with rose petals from what was to have been the finale's confetti shower. Near the boards, Mia noticed something glinting, dark leather with a silver buckle. She knelt, prying it up, a narrow ankle strap, the kind used on ladies' competition skates, embossed inside in faded gold, DC Dominique Chen. Mia's pulse drummed. She shouldn't touch evidence, but the strap was half embedded in ice, likely missed during cleanup. She wrapped it in a tissue and slipped it into her jacket. Why would Dominique's strap be here? More unsettling, why did it smell faintly of syrupy chemical? Glycerin? A door banged. Mia flinched. Cassie Lowell trudged in, her red-rimmed eyes contrasting eerily with the maroon scarf looped around her throat. She froze upon seeing Mia. They locked the place, Cassie rasped. No skaters allowed till further notice. I needed air, Mia said, straightening. I'll leave. Cassie approached the tarp, fingers trembling. They think it was an accident, right? Her voice cracked. I'm not sure anyone thinks that. Mia watched her. Victor's assistant's grief seemed genuine, but grief could live alongside guilt. Mia remembered their argument, Cassie pleading with Victor to give a younger pair a pas de deux in Act 2. Victor dismissed her, as always. Cassie knelt where Victor died, touching the scored ice. He could be brutal, but he lived for this show. She looked up at Mia. Who replaces him if we reopen? No idea, Mia replied, though the question unsettled her. Career opportunities brewed in tragedy's wake. That evening, Mia brought the strap to Detective Reyes's temporary office in the hotel conference room. Reyes listened without interrupting, then placed the strap in an evidence bag. Dominique Chen, he said, nodding. She claims she left the rink as soon as spacing ended, but the night guard logged someone entering storage afterward. Could be her, Mia noted. Or someone planting her strap, Reyes countered. Don't become a target, Summers. You're already helpful. But the advisory only fired Mia's resolve. She returned to her room, scrolling social media. Dominique had posted a glossy selfie an hour before the fall, full makeup, captioned, "Tonight the ice burns." Comments fawned. Among them, a reply from Pavel Dawn. "Make sure the spotlight stays on you." Odd alliance, the fired lighting designer and Frosthaven's prima donna. Mia messaged Pavel from a burner skating account, inquiring about freelance crew jobs. He answered within minutes, inviting her to his workshop near the arena to discuss creative collaboration now that certain tyrants are gone. Trembling, Mia convinced herself she only wanted information for Reyes, yet adrenaline tingled at the secretive mission. She zipped her parka and headed into the biting Frosthaven night. Pavel's workshop occupied a disused maintenance bay. Between spools of cable and gel frames, a solitary lamp glowed. Pavel, thin as a reed and smelling of clove cigarettes, greeted her. "You're the new starlet," he said, eyes glittering. "I saw your triple loop in rehearsal, clean lines." "Thanks," Mia murmured, heart hammering. "I'm exploring my options." She scanned the clutter. On a dusty crate lay a pair of men's figure skates, size 12, Victor's size. The left boot sported fresh scratches near the heel. Pavel followed her gaze. "Found those in the dumpster behind the rink," he said lightly. "Souvenir." Mia swallowed. The performance blades Reyes mentioned. "You collect strange trophies. Artists need reminders of oppressive regimes." Pavel flicked ash. "Victor sabotaged his own dancers, you know. He made me take blame for last week's blackout." His voice sharpened. "I researched his methods, poisonous relationships." "Enough to justify murder?" Pavel's expression hardened. "Careful, little sprite." He lifted the skate, idly spinning the blade between finger and thumb. "Your edges could get dull." Fear pricked along Mia's scalp. She edged toward the door. "I should go." "Do that." His smile was all razor. Outside, snow whispered against the pavement. Mia half ran back to the hotel, mind cartwheeling. Pavel owned Victor's missing blades. He hated the choreographer. But possession didn't equal guilt, unless he'd used the blades to carve the glycerin container or tamper with the rink. She drafted an urgent text to Reyes and hit send. Before she reached her floor, Reyes called. "Stay put," he ordered. "We've located the guard's security footage. Meet me in the lobby." The footage revealed a hooded figure entering the rink's equipment room after rehearsal, carrying a loot-shaped container. The timestamp, 7:18 p.m. Dominique had claimed to be at makeup then. Pavel said he was drinking at the bar. Neither alibi fit. The figure's build. Petite, narrow shoulders. Perhaps even Phoebe Mallory, the 12-year-old prodigy, Mia thought wildly. But the stride possessed an adult certainty. Reyes paused the frame. A corner of patterned scarf peeked between coat lapels, burgundy with golden snowflakes. Mia's gut turned. Cassie Lowell's scarf. By the next morning, Cassie was nowhere in the hotel. Police canvassed bus and train stations. Mia, exhausted, wandered to the deserted rink again, ignoring the posted closure sign. She needed to feel blades under her feet, to remind herself why she endured this nightmare. She laced her boots in silence, stepped onto the empty sheet, and began slow-edge work. The icy air steadied her lungs. She let her body remember jump patterns, gradually accelerating into a scratch spin. The world blurred into a white tunnel. When she stopped, Cassie's reflection shimmered in the plexiglass. Mia whipped around, startled. "I'm not running," Cassie said, voice soft. She held a small metal flask. "They'll twist everything." "Why were you in equipment storage?" Mia demanded, gliding backward to maintain space. Cassie unscrewed the flask, poured viscous liquid onto the ice. It beaded like mercury. Glycerin. "I tried to stop him hurting people," she whispered. "Sign with me. You saw how he was." "You killed him," Cassie's eyes brimmed. "Not intentionally. I only wanted him to slip, bruise his pride. I coated the ice by the sculpture, enough for a fall. Then Pavel fired me texts about exposure. I panicked, hid the bottle." She clenched her fist. "He fell the wrong way." Mia's stomach lurched. Sabotage turned homicide. "Come with me to Detective Reyes. Explain." Cassie shook her head. "They'll ruin my life, but we can fix this." She stepped onto the ice, skidding as the fresh glycerin under her boot slicked the surface. She lurched, arms windmilling. The flask clanged away. Mia reacted instinctively, shooting forward. She caught Cassie's wrist, steadying her. Close up, the assistant's tears were frozen pearls. "No more," Mia said. "Let justice land clean." They stood shivering until Reyes's team, summoned by Mia's emergency call, burst through the doors. Cassie surrendered without fight. Days later, the exhibition remained cancelled, but Frosthaven's board invited the skaters to mount a tribute gala. They offered Victor's position to senior choreographer Anya Petrov, who approached Mia during the first rehearsal. "You knew something was wrong and spoke," Anya said. "That takes courage. I'd like you to perform Victor's planned solo." Mia's heart pounded. "I'm honored." Opening night of the gala arrived beneath a sky powdered with cold stars. Frosthaven Arena bore no ornate sculptures, only lanterns floating like paper moons above the rink. Detective Reyes watched from the back row, arms folded. When Mia took center ice, silence draped the arena. She breathed in, recalling Victor's final smile and the price of ambition tangled with fear. Then she struck her opening pose. Strings rose from the orchestra pit, sweet and sharp. Her blades traced silver filigree, every edge honest, every rotation clean. In her mind, she heard Victor's directive, excellence or exile, and answered with a soaring triple loop that landed featherlight. The crowd exhaled as one. Spinning toward her final crescendo, Mia saw, in the flicker of lantern light, the faces of those lost and those redeemed. Where Victor had fallen, new ice gleamed unblemished. She drew her arms in tight, gathering speed, spinning not into danger, but into hard-earned clarity. When she slowed to stillness, applause thundered, rolling like distant avalanche. She bowed, tears burning her lashes, then lifted her gaze toward the rafters as if to say, "Here is the spark you demanded, Victor. Here is the future, unbroken at last."